Today we're going to learn linear functions. So last week we learned uh, about this Cartesian plane, and we learned how to find the middle point and also the slope and the length of a line segment, giving 2 points as the line there. Okay, today we actually learn something called linear function, and linear function actually something we see that actually pretty much every day. Like say if you go to the store and you want to buy something from the store. Let's say you see maybe a bag of chips for $3, and so if you want to buy one bag, you're going to pay $3. But if you want to buy two, you get $6. By three, you get $9, unless you get something like 2-for-1 deal. It's a different story. But normally, what you can do is that they just tell you the price, which is we call that unit price. It's just like how much money per bag, and based on that, you can work out how much it costs for 2 bags or 3 bags. But if you use that. Well, this actually, we see here, there are 2 sets of numbers. One is on this side, which is the number of bags. And one is on the other side, which is how much money you have. So amount of money. So even though they are all numbers, but they are different kind of numbers. And, but this table showed us there is a relationship between these 2 sets of numbers, like $1 corresponding to $3, or 1 bag corresponding to $3, 2 bag 6, 3 bag 9. So there is have this unique relationship, and this relationship is what we call function. And normally we write this as y equal to f of x. Now f here is just first letter of function. So in this case, we actually can write it. It's actually just 3 times x. And you can see when x equal to 1, y is 3, y equal to 2, 2 times 3 is 6, x equal to 2, y is 6, and if x equal to 3, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so this is a very simple function, and you can see in real life, there's a lot of this kind of relationships. Like, for example, if you are in a car and you drive to a city, and the longer the time in the car and the longer the distance you have drove, unless you drove in kind of drove in circles. But if you just go from city A to city B, the longer you drive, the further away from city C and closer to B. So there is also we call function. So this now is we call that a function of time. Depends on what time, then we know how far away that we're from, where we come from, and how far away close to where we want to. And you see that the functions actually pretty common. And now we actually, based on what we learned early on, if that table we made early on, 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3, 9. And we actually, there's 2, can see this, you can think of this as a pair of numbers. They're called ordered pair. So it's a pair and it's in order. X go first, Y go second. Now you can see that we actually can 1, 3, and 2, 6, and 3, 9. We can write like that. And actually in the XY coordinate system, we can actually find the point corresponding to those ordered pairs. So the first one, 1, 3, and this is 1, and 3 is here. So that's a point here. And 2 is here, and corresponding to 6, and 3, and give us 9 will be here. And one thing is, you notice that if we connect them together, we actually get a nice straight line. And this is what we call linear function. Linear function, when you graph it, they always give a straight line. And early on, what we got here is y equals 3x. Now, the linear function have this form is that typically you get two terms. This one just one term, but typically you get two terms. One is a number times x. Like for example, x equals 2x minus 3. Now, this is one term. This is another term. And here we got x and y. And as a function, we call x and y variables. Okay. And yeah, it's not just, this is really not a fancy name. It just means its value varies. Something varies. So we call them variables. But we call x as independent variable. That means we know x first. If something we know first, that's independent variable. And then we can find y. Y is called dependent. Well, the reason for that is the value of x depends on the value of, so value of y depends on the value of x, and also the type of function. So that's called dependent variable. Okay. And so we can see that the linear function had this, let me go back a little bit. I don't want to miss all that. So, okay. And we have this form. There could be different kinds of it. The only difference is that the value of the two numbers, this number and this number, are different. For example, y could equal to 2/3 of x plus 1. So therefore, we can come up with a very general form. General form is y equal to mx plus b. Okay, you can see that in this case, for this one, our m is equal to, our b is -3. And for the second function, our m is 2/3, and our b just equal to 1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how, once we have a function, how do we graph it? So y is 2x minus 1. Let's use that one. Okay, so because this is a linear function, we really just need the 2 points. And because it could be any 2 points on the line, and then it doesn't matter which two, so we pick either one. So easiest one is pick x equal to 0. If that's the case, now you can see y will be 2 times 0 minus 1. So we got this just 0 minus 1. We got -1 here. And the second point, we just call x equal to 1. It could have any number, 2 or 3 or 4, doesn't matter. But we just want to make our life easier. So it's y equal to 2 times 1 minus 1. That gave us 2 minus 1. That gave us 1. Okay, if we find it, 1 is here. Another one is 1, 1. 1, 1 will be here. So therefore, if we connect them, then that's the line we have. And I'm using a program, a website called Desmos that you probably familiar with. So y equal to, we can confirm it, 2x minus 1. You can see my drawing is not exact, but it's close. So that shows us all we need to know is 2 points. And the points actually is up to us, the 2 points. We can pick from points here and points there. That's fine. Or points here or points there. That's okay too. But since it's up to us, of course, we'll pick something simple. Okay. Let's try another one. So y equals to -1/2 x and plus 3. Is that negative? Yeah, negative. Okay, same thing. We put the x, y. Now, x equal to 0 is always a good point to pick. And you can see that what we got just this as 3, either one. Now, here we have a choice. And because this is a half, I'd like to use integers. So I'm going to choose x as 2. Because in that case, negative 2 times 2 plus 3, and they just cancel. It's negative 1 plus 3 give us 2. So that means I'm just dealing with integers. So in that case, 0, 3, 0 here, 3 is up here. So that's the point. 2 and 2, 2 is here, the 2 is there. And that's another point. So that's what we do. And of course, if we check it, and you can see that's the case. Y equal to negative x plus 3. You can see that. Okay, so that's kind of how we're graphing it. So basically, we just pick 2 points and to graph it. Okay. And so graphing a linear function is pretty straightforward. I showed you 2 different ways. And you can always use the function, the Desmos website to confirm, but graphing those are pretty easy. Just make 2 numbers and you connect. And if you have a ruler, that's even better. Just use a ruler and to draw the line. Okay. Now the next one is a little bit tricky. The next one is, if we know a line, can we find the function? Well, to do that, there is something we need to know. Let's, for example, if we have 2 lines, one line's here, another line's here, another point here. So this line like that. Now we've got 2 points. And this one is 0, 0. And this one is 4, 2. Well, now we know the function should be y equal to mx plus b. Now we just need to figure out what is m, what is b, based on those 2 numbers. Okay, first of all, we pick 0, 0. If that's the case, our y is 0, x is 0, and plus b. Okay, m times 0, 0, plus b. That means our b has to be 0. Okay, find b now. How about m? Well, we just pick another number into it, y, pick this number to that. So our y is 2, then m times 4, and plus 0, b is 0. So therefore, 4m equals 2. That's a simple linear function divided by 4 on both sides. Then m is half. So that's what we got. So y is half of x, and we find it. Okay, so basically is we start with this function, we just plug in the 2 numbers, and we try to find it. Okay. Let's look at another example. Let's say we find point quite different here. This is a point, and this is a point. So what we got here is 2, 4, and 6, 6. So what we got here, then we know y is mx plus b. So therefore, what we're going to do, we know that 4, that's equal to m, our m is 2, and plus b. There's one, we can rewrite this as 2m plus b equal to 4. And the other point, 6, 6. So we got 6 equals to m6 plus b. So we got 6 equal to 6m plus b. Okay, so now we got 2 equations. And this is something called system equations. We got 2 variables, 2 equations. And so we are going to use 2m plus b equal to 4, and 6m plus b equal to 6. Okay, make sure this is a b, and so not 6b. So how do we solve a problem like that? Well, you can see that if I use this equation minus this equation, that means our left minus left, right minus right. So what we got here is, so b and b got canceled because b minus b is 0. So, but 6m minus 2m is 4m. And this side, 6 minus 2, like minus 4 is 2, so m is half. Okay, we got that. Then we just plug in, doesn't matter which one, here or here. If we plug in top, because it's easy, it's simpler, so it's 2. Now m is half, plus b equal to 4. Then we got this just 1. 1 plus b equal to 4. So b is 3. Okay, got that. And so our function will be y equals to half of x plus 3. So we got that one. Okay, so I got this one. And I'm going to show you another. And then I'm going to show you actually either way to do that. Okay. Let's say I'm going to pick two numbers. One is -2 and 4. The another number is, let's pick here. Okay, pick here. Okay, and what we got here is this line. And this is -2 and 4, and this is 6, -2. So same thing, it's y equal to mx plus b. So therefore, and what we're going to do is pick this point, plug in, we got 4, y is 4, our x is m, -2, then plus b. So from here, what we got here is -2m plus b equal to 4. And then we pick another point, is y is -2, x is 6, so m times 6 plus b. So this actually is 6m plus b equal to -2. Okay, we're going to play the same trick. Is this minus that? And if we do that, what we got? B and B cancel, and 6m minus -2m is 6m plus 2m, give us 8m. So we got 8m here. And on the other side, this minus that, yeah, make sure the order is the correct one. And minus that, what we got here is -6. So our m is -6 over 8, and we got -3 over 4. So that's what we got. So now we got m. Y is -3 over 4m. Oh, x. I got m now. We still need to find b. Okay. Again, we can, doesn't matter which equation to put in, here or here, doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to just put on the first one. If you put on first one, we know that it's -2. Now the m, we just figured it out, is 4/3. Then plus b equal to 4. And this times that give us 2/3 plus b equal to 4. Then b then is 4 minus 3 over 2, which is 8 over 2 minus 3 over 2, and give us 5 over 2. So that's what we got. So 5 over 2. So that's function we'll get. Just 2 points. So based on that, you can see that our process is the same. Now, in algebra, if we have the same process, what we're going to do is to develop a formula, okay, just like we did in the past. Come up with the formula. We don't have to do that every time when we see a problem like this. So therefore, in order to the formula, then we just make 2 points, arbitrary 2 points. So one is here and any point here, but we are going to call this one is x1, y1, and here is x2, y2. And we're going to just do this once for all. Y equal to mx plus b. So y1 you can see is equal to mx1 plus b. Then y2 is equal to mx2 plus b. So now we're going to use this minus the top, just like we did early on. What we got here is, on one side is y2 minus y1. The other side, b is cancelled. This is mx2 minus mx1, which gives us mx2 minus x1. So we got, I'm going to swap this equation. So we got x2 minus x1 equal to y2 minus y1. So m actually equal to y2 almost y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, this is something we actually familiar to us. We learned last time. This is our slope formula. So ends up that's why we call m slope, because we got exactly the same formula at the slope form. So we got that. And now we're going to figure out what our b is once we have that. And our b is based on that. We just pick one of that. Let's say pick here. Okay. We got y1 equal to mx1 plus b. So b then is equal to y1 minus mx1. Well, what is our m? M is, this is y1. Then m, we said early on, which is y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1 times x1. Okay? I'm going to put this over here. y2 minus y1, and this gives us x2 minus x1. Okay. So I'm going to use the right-hand side to derive it. So we got b equal to y1 here minus x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1 times x1. Okay, so we can put them together. What we got? We got x2 minus x1, and this side is y1, x2 minus x1, and that side is y2 minus y1 times x1. So what we got here is x2 minus x1, and we got x2 times y1 minus y1 x1, then minus y2 x1 plus y1 x1. Well, now you can see there is something interesting. This one got cancelled. y1 x1 minus y1 x1, that got cancelled. So what we ends up is this is x2 y1 minus y2 x1 and x2 minus x1. Okay, so we find that b is this formula. x2, y1 minus y2, x1, then x2 minus x1. So now we can just do that, use that formula to solve our problems. Okay, let's use that. And by the way, the formula for B a little bit complicated, so you don't have to use this formula for B, because once we have M, we just plug in, because it's basically exactly what we did earlier. Now you just have to kind of do some work well, when you're dealing with speed, because this will be harder to remember. Okay, let's see. We got Y. We could have some examples. Okay. All right. Let's see. You've got 2 points. So -1 and 3. Another one is 5 and 7. Okay. Now, so we know x1 is -1, y1 is 3, x2 is 5, y2 is 7. Okay, so now we find m. Function m, x plus b. So now our m is y2 minus y1, like we did earlier, x2 minus x1. Then what we got here is 7 minus 3, so 7 minus 3, and 5 minus -1. And that gives us 4 over 6, so 2/3. Now, we can use this formula to find b. Okay, or we can just say, let's plug in, because now we know y is 2/3 x plus b. So what we're going to do is just plug in a number, okay? Doesn't matter which number you plug in. Let's say you plug in the first number. So if you plug in the first number, what we got there is 3 equal to 2/3 -1 plus b. So therefore b will be, this is minus 2/3 plus b. So b will be 3 plus 2/3. And it gave us 3 is 9 over 3 plus 2 over 3. So we got 11 over 3. So therefore, what we got here is y equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. So that's what we got. Okay. We can also use this one. If we use this one, what we got? We know x2 minus x1. So 5 minus -1 is 6. The top, x2 times x2 is this one, times y1 is 15. Then minus y2 times x1. So 7 -1. And that gives us 15 plus 7 over 6. And that is 22 over 6, give us 11/3. So you can see that we can also use formula to find it. If you don't want to use formula, you can just use what they did earlier, solve a linear equation. All right. And sometimes our life is made a bit easier, is they tell us the slope and give us a point. Okay, let's see. We have a point 0, 1, and slope is 2. And this is actually becomes super easy because our just y equals to m. M is 2, so 2x plus b. Then we just plug in this number. when x is 0, y is 1. So 1, 2 times 0 plus b, then y is equal to b. So b is 1. So we got y equals to 2x plus 1. So this is, if we know the slope and the point, it's super easy for us to write it. And sometimes we just know 2 points, then that's where we have to figure out the slope first. Okay, let's do one more on this one. For example, we got 0, -3, and the slope is equal to -1. So what we got here is y equal to -x plus b. Then we just plug in this number. So y is -3, x is 0, -0 still 0. So that's just equal to b. So our b is -3. So therefore our function is y equal to -3 and -x, -3. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, and I will give you some work to do, but I wanted to kind of a quick review what we learned today. So what we learned today is that we start with a function y equal to mx plus b. If we know the function, then we just need to pick 2 points. One is when x equal to 0, like in this case, then y just equal to b. And we pick a point, normally pick 1. So if it's 1, then y will be m plus b. Knowing 2 points, we just graph it. So that's super simple. And sometimes we're probably not using 1. We may be using other numbers to make our life easier. But it's really up to us which 2 numbers to use. So this is pretty straightforward when you're graphing the linear function. And another way, knowing 2 points and trying to graphing it, we know if we know 2 points, the function is of course mx plus b. If we know slope and the point, that becomes super easy. We can easily do that. And sometimes we know 2 points. For example, if we know just 1 point, and so let's say m is equal to 4, and this is a slope, a point, let's say -1 and 3, and we'll just simply do y is 4x plus b, and just plug in that point. So 3 equal to 4, -1 plus b is -4 plus b, then b would equal to, add 4 on both sides, 7. So y is 4x plus 7. So know slope and point becomes pretty easy. Now the tricky part, a little bit complicated, is knowing 2 points. And all we need to know is to do more than this is basically just finding the slope. And we already know the slope formula. So if you have 2 points, x1, y1, then x2, y2. So we know that. So y will be, our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and find the slope. Once we find the slope, just pick either this point or that point, and then we just find b. And so example, if you find this point, we got y1 equal to m x1 plus b, then of course b will be y1 minus mx1. If we plug this point, and we got y2 equals mx2 plus b, then b will be y2 minus mx2. Okay, and we also derived the formula for b, so you can also use that. This I think is called y12 x1 minus y1 times x2 and over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's what we learned today. And so what we learned today is still, in this unit, we're still trying to become familiar with this xy coordinate. because with the coordinate, then we can do many things. We will have very many interesting math problems we can solve. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.